Oh, that's a little stand and fair. Oh, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Base, episode 92. And with me, I have Ken. He's always here. He always brings a lot of great presents. So, what's up, Ken?
Howdy, everybody.
He's eating the bar.
I'm having a boot bar.
And also, I have with me Madam B, and it's always great to have her here too. I love her additional content as well as input.
It's the ghost of Madam B.
And right now, we're going to be talking about some more subjects when it comes to the upcoming sequels, the good, the bad, the maybes, the hell no's, and I had to say hell no, but there's Southern slang. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. And I know we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. I know last week we didn't do anything because we were out of town. But I did manage to upload some videos that I had on file, so that's all right. So without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into this thing. We're going to be a bit all over the place because the list of movies which I wrote down, I don't remember what it was. So hopefully we don't go back over movies we already talked about.
We'll remember, hopefully.
Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and throw out two animated movies. Both I had pretty good first movies, so it'll be pretty interesting to see about sequels. The first one is Big Hero 6, and the second one is Wreck-It Ralph.
And one of them is already in production.
Is Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Wreck-It Ralph's supposed to be in production.
Wreck-It Ralph is actually a pretty good one, so I don't mind seeing the sequel to it. And Big Hero 6, I thought was okay. It was a pretty good movie. And I'm interested to see where they're going to go with a sequel. Have you seen Big Hero 6?
Yes, I have, and I really, really was a surprise enjoyment, especially the Stan Lee cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really surprised with it. I really ended up liking it a lot. And I could see a second movie of that as well with no problem. Very easily. In fact, actually, I'm surprised they actually haven't done an animated series on like Disney or Disney XD with it.
Yeah. I know me and Zach were talking after Big Hero 6, they kind of had like a little comic book / manga thing that they had going out as a follow-up to the movie, I think. And he said he didn't like it. And that's the first for him.
Zach not like that? That's strange.
But he said it was all right. He did say it was all right. It wasn't as stand out and pronounced as he thought it would have been. But he said it was all right. But he didn't really like it too much. But I am interested in seeing the sequel for both these movies, especially Wreck-It Ralph. I'm interested to see where they're going to go with it. And I think I did read up on it about what the possible storyline would be, but I'm not sure.
I would be interested to see what they do. I mean, there's so many video game characters and things that you could bring into it that you could come up with a decent storyline.
And yeah, it'd be nice to see. It'd be interesting to see some of these more new gen characters and new gen worlds and new gen games be introduced to it. Do you honestly see Wreck-It Ralph being a trilogy?
No.
Okay.
I think they would end up doing a second movie and cutting it at that. If it came out anything, it would be released to DVD at that point. I think they'll do another big screen because it did pretty good, if I remember right. I really foresee it going towards a sequel and then a direct-to-DVD.
Okay. I hope it don't be a direct-to-DVD.
Not the sequel. The sequel will be theater, but anything beyond that would go direct-DVD. Madam B's being so violent over there.
Yeah, she's just tearing up stuff. Lord have
Heck.
It was. That's all right. Did you see the Fantastic Beasts movie?
Yes.
What did you think about it?
I'm not a major Harry Potter big wig. I mean, I enjoyed the movies. But I like that movie. I liked its style a lot better than the original series. So, and I kind of thought it was neat with the, I know they're going to make a Fantastic Beasts 2, I'm pretty sure at this point.
Yeah, they were. I think it was confirmed that they were going to do a sequel to that one. What
Because
do
they
you
were
think
looking
about
for
the sequel?
a Dumbledore, and they were looking for Voldemort or Tom Riddle character in there. So I know they were looking for that at the last I read something on it. But I would go enjoy see that movie again as a sequel to. If there's something new in there, it would be awesome. Like the girl goes to Britain this time instead of the guy coming to the U.S.
Yeah.
Seeing the characters we've seen in the other movies, but much earlier in their lives would be very interesting. I would definitely enjoy watching that.
I think I thought it was an okay movie. I'm not gonna say it's okay. I thought it was a good movie, and it was actually pretty good seeing something else happen in the Harry Potter world outside of Harry Potter.
Exactly. Magicians and wizards are all throughout the world. They're not just all stashed in the 5 or 6 schoolhouses that we saw in the second one, the not Chamber of Secrets, but the tournament where we saw some of the other magical houses showing up.
Yeah.
So then we know that they're all over. Just a matter of seeing them, And heck, they could even actually do where they go bounce around to a couple of those different houses too. That would be interesting to see. I mean, maybe another extended series, not the one that we're talking about presently, but.
Do you think they're going to do it like kind of like Lord of the Rings, where they had the series, then they had a prequel series to go with it?
Well, I think this movie, at least in the next movie that they were talking, we were going to see a precursor to Tom Riddle and Dumbledore and some of the earlier characters. I don't know how much time coincidence that they are. If they're within 5 to 10 years of it or what. I'm not sure where it's at in the timeline. We obviously know it's before Dumbledore becomes a headmaster. That's for sure. At Hogwarts, so I think they have a lot of room to play. I think they do.
Okay.
And we could definitely develop a series. You could even develop a couple series in that time frame too, which would be kind of cool.
I could definitely see that happening. Did you see the Dredd 3D movie?
I saw Dredd, but not the 3D version.
Well, I didn't see the 3D version, but I saw
that's the Carl Urban one, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yes.
You think they just come out with a sequel for that one?
Yes, I definitely would be all over. I love Judge Dredd. I like the Punisher too, but Dredd's that cool futuristic version. But I liked his version a lot, and the movie was kind of, it was kind of what I expected, but a notch above because some of the dystopian future and Mega City 1 and how things were being done. We saw kind of what was going on in the background and the kind of a very little introduction. The Stallone Dredd was good, but it kind of took us away from the city and developed a little bit of the background. But I would love to see a second Dredd to give you more of what's going on in the future in mega cities. And I think in the storyline there's 7 mega cities. I think
it was 7.
I think there were 7 mega cities. And I don't care if he bounces around. I mean, see, there's so much storyline with Judge Dredd, too, because you have a lot of different characters in the Dredd world, if you're a big fan. And it would be very good to see a lot of those characters come to life. And, just for the pure violence. I mean, that minigun scene in there was just pretty wild.
Yeah,
Ooh, look at your technology there. Woo, Mr. Fancy.
That was pretty brutal, and that's one thing I like it because it felt kind of grounded, because it seemed like something that could probably happen now.
Yeah, very well. I could actually see that. In fact, with the situation going on with Puerto Rico right now, I mean, Puerto Rico does look like City 1. I mean, it's in bad shape. I mean, 80-90% of the island is without power and stuff. So, it could be very similar situation, not too far from now.
What kind of gets me worried is because one of Dredd's biggest, I guess you could say, nemesis
yes.
is Judge Death.
Yes.
And it's like if they did do a sequel, how could they bring Judge Death and his crew to it and make it still feel grounded?
I don't know about that one. I mean, have to go back and kind of look and dig into the Judge Death, because I mean, I know he was a pretty bad character, and he was a very reoccurring character throughout the series. In fact, actually, I believe there's a whole dedicated, like, 10 episode, or I think it was 10 episodes of him alone with Judge Dredd going back and forth throughout the whole thing. So, I think they could pull it off. It would all have to be practical, though. No CGI whatsoever. I mean, they could get Doug Jones to play Judge Death if they wanted to. He plays all the little weird characters. Yeah, you could add a little bit. Kind of like what they did with Davy Jones.
Oh yeah, so it was a blend. It was
a hybrid. You know, the face was basically what we call green screened, and then the CGI character faced upon it. But I mean, they could probably even. I mean, Doug Jones is a small guy to begin with, and I mean, he could very well just practically affect, maybe with some accented effects. He could pull that character very well. He's not big and bulky though, kind of, but the Judge Death doesn't really. I mean, he's like Death incarnate as a judge. So I think they could pull it off, but again, more practical, less CGI.
All right, let me ask you this then. I have a comic, a graphic novel series, a 4-part series where it's a crossover between Dredd and Batman. And one of the comics was they had to team up to fight Death. In fact, it was 2 comics. It was 2 comics in it. They had to team up to fight Death. What do you think about them possibly having a crossover with Batman?
That would be interesting. I don't know if they would do it. I don't think there's a big enough audience for that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it would make the theatrical, but it could be an animated. It could be a live. But live would... The problem is that you have people already cast into the Batman role in the JLA and DC Marvel universe, or DC universe, so it'd be very difficult to kind of pull it off. I would think in this case we'd probably see more of an animated or a CGI-based animated series or movie. I don't foresee, unfortunately, a Batman Dredd live action really off the bat. I would like to see it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people like us would like to see it, but practically speaking, I don't think they would actually do something like that, unfortunately. But that would be kind of cool, though. Was it Machinima, whatever the name is, that they do the different characters against each other?
Yeah.
Now, they've done some really good ones, like Deadpool versus Batman, Deadpool and Harley Quinn, Joker, and one other one. I can't think of her name at the moment. And they were all really good. And I mean, they were movie quality, very cool. Now, they would be somebody to approach something like that, which would be very interesting. And those would be live action. And Batman would be generic enough that we wouldn't be looking to see any of the characters we play in JLA or the DC universe. So that could be an option. That could be an option right there. And maybe it may not be a long clip, but it would be something clever and very interesting to watch.
Okay, I can understand that. That's actually a really good point. I hadn't even thought of that.
Like Batman versus Deathstroke, they do that one too. That's pretty cool. That's a more of a CGI animated one, but it's pretty good though. That's really good. And that was kind of a precursor to what they would expect to see in the next Batman movie too. Is Deathstroke go against Batman in that series or the next movie?
So, as the Batman sequel, I mean, it would be a sequel, but
it would be more of a standalone, I think, in this case, because we've already had the Nolan movies. So at this point,
it would be part of the DCEU, though, right?
It would still be DC Universe, but it'd be a different Batman. We're not gonna have the same Batman. After depending on how Justice League and depending on how Justice League does, if they decide to do a Justice League 2, which I'm pretty sure that will happen, without a doubt. Now, whether Affleck continues on in the Batman role, is up in the air. Batman vs Superman. I like Batman, obviously, because I'm wearing my Batman shirt tonight. But I don't know. I'm still kind of borderline. I do like him in the JLA so far that I've seen. Is a much better performance than he was in Batman vs Superman. because some of that stuff got really hokey with me at when he's getting his ass beat. The bat armor was in there. I was loving that. He was smart. He started using his brains. That's how he is. That's how the character is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Some of the, maybe it was just because of the direction of the movie, but we'll see with JLA. I'm very waiting for JLA to come out. We got December 8th, I think, is the release date. So we'll see how it goes. If he stays in character like I've seen in the trailers and teasers, I will be good with JLA. I will be good with the JLA 2. And I would hope that they consider doing another standalone Batman, because we already got the Flash. We've got Cyborg coming out. We've got the Lanterns coming out, which is a hint, which I think we may see in Justice League, or somewhere in Justice League. I think we're going to see the Lanterns. Oh, this is an interesting point, too. We were talking the trailer not too long ago in one of our other shows. At the very end, we were talking about what it could be like Justice League. We think it might be the Green Lantern showing up in Alfred's glasses.
Yeah.
We forgot somebody.
Superman?
Martian Manhunter.
They got to give me a good story with that. He can't just show up out of the damn blue. But I would like to,
because we thought it was going to be Superman. We know Supergirl might make an appearance because of the video that he was watching when they mentioned the Kryptonian and the introduction with Steppenwolf talking about the humans. Or it could be, and it just struck me, I said, green, Martian Manhunter. So that's another possibility, and he's also one of the original members of the JLA group. So it is very possible. Supergirl was never one of them, but later on, but the initial core that we know of, that's a very big possibility he may be in there. So I just thought it was kind of interesting since we brought it up.
Okay. What else I was looking at? It was one good one I was just looking at. I was like, you got to talk about that, but I'm not sure what it is right now. Oh man, God, gosh. Oh, Die Hard 6.
I have heard rumor that it's going to be not Bruce Willis. It's going to be a younger version being cast into an earlier Die Hard series.
Yeah.
And I just briefly saw that today. I didn't dig too far into it because I've been running around all day in meetings. But I don't know. I like Die Hard. I've had enjoyment with Die Hard. I don't see a reboot of that series happening, but I'm not really sure going younger is the better idea because he was more seasoned. That's why we liked him. If we step beyond that, he had to have been really cocky to begin with to do an earlier than his original Die Hard movie. So I don't know. I'm kind of questionable on that one. I do like the Die Hard series though.
I'm on the fence with it too, man. I think it's an interesting concept. Like it's okay. I'm like, all right, they found the loophole. They managed to bring a pretty new, interesting idea. But it's kind of got me because it's like, I like John McClane, but what detective, is consistently having to deal with fighting terrorists?
Exactly. It's like, he's got a big target painted on it. He just happens to step into all this. The last one was kind of borderline. I was like, I don't know.
I'm not usually the one for saying like kill a franchise based on a movie being bad. That was one of the few times I was like, no more Die Hard. No more.
Yeah, it kind of reached out too far. I had the McClane, action moments in there, but the story was way bigger than that character should have been. Granted now, well, see, but then we have to go back and look at all the rest of them. With the guys taking over the airport and the building and Italy or the Russians. It's like. It's just too extreme. That one, I don't know why. It just seemed like that one was just too extreme for me to picture that character's involvement in.
It was like I can see like the story I could kind of get behind, but there were certain elements to it I hated. Like, it was a lot of convenience. It was, and somebody else pointed it out in another video. They said John McClane actually gives a crap about people's lives, but it was one sequence where he's driving his this truck or something, and he's running over these cars and hitting these cars and knocking them out. It was like a 15-minute chase scene, and he did more collateral damage than the bad guys did without any regret. And I was like,
it's not par for the character.
That's not what his character does. Even it was one part where him and his son were like, there's no reason they should have got out of that. And it was a part they were captured. And remember the part? Yeah, they were captured by the one guy who liked to eat carrots. He started dancing. And because he had him at gunpoint, it was like him and like 3 other guys.
Yeah, and so what are they going to do now?
He literally starts dancing for like 5 minutes. And then John and them got out of it. I was like, what?
Yeah, the extreme, the suspension of disbelief does not work that well. And
I was like, no bad guy does that. Because he literally just started dancing. I'm like,
what bad guy indeed?
I'm like, why are you dancing? Just kill him. You're right.
Well, it's like in Guardians of the Galaxy, but it was funny then.
But Guardians of the Galaxy has more of a comedic tone. I mean, it's dark.
It was expected. It was expected for him to do something like that, though.
I was like, oh my gosh. And even one of the biggest things about Die Hard, you love seeing the witty dialogue between John McClane and whoever he's going back and forth with. That's always the best, just hearing the dialogue. But in this movie, there was never really any dialogue between him and the bad guy. I mean, it was a twist in the story, which really wasn't a twist at all. But it's like there was really no. The movie sucked. It sucked. I'm sorry. It was interesting, but it sucked.
Just having the J-35 trying to mow him down, the BS factor was way too high for me, and at that point. Sure, it's a great action scene, but I just there's so much I just can't buy into that.
Like I said, it's an interesting idea. His son is kind of taking the same road he is, but not exactly. So he's going to help his son. And I'm like, okay, so it's pushing him in a different realm that he's done before. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. But it's like everything, all the execution and all that. It ain't even like the bad guys even came up to me at one point and was like, we've heard of you, the mysterious John McClane, and
I thought you would have been bigger.
Yeah, something like that. But as far as the Die Hard 6, I'm kind of on the fence about.
Yeah, I don't see it going anymore. If it doesn't have Bruce Willis, okay. If they're gonna go with something new or someone new, I don't even think you could reboot that series at this point. It would be very difficult for me to accept it as a rebooted series too. So I don't know. I'm riding the fence. I'm more swaying towards the that's it, let's call it a day side than I am let's move on with something new.
All right, let me ask you this: if they do green light it, do you want to see more action or more actual detective work?
Well, why do you watch the movie though?
See, I like the balance of it where he's trying to figure stuff out, and I think the first four, and I'm a fan. I think personally, the best one was 4, but that's just me. But I liked how they were figuring all this stuff out. And all the movies before the 5th one, he's having to do some detective work with the help of somebody else. So I want to see a balance, and it doesn't have to be like over the top action, but it is expected.
No, yeah, it does. And I do agree with you. I like to see a good mix. I like it because he's a smartass. His interaction with the bad guys, once he figures some things out, once you see that light bulb kicking on, like in, was it 3 with the, or no, it was the second one with the soldiers and everything, where they're all firing blanks, but he doesn't catch it until like way late in the series. And he's like, click, then the light bulb goes on. That's what I would like to see. And with the last one, it was just so much, again, as you said, convenience, too easy. They were trying to play him out of his element a lot more with the electronic warfare type stuff. And it just didn't work with me. It just didn't feel a natural movie like the other ones did. He still had a smart ass moment, especially when he shot himself, but we're going to have to either retire the series or re-market with something else. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You
kind of quiet over
on
here.
Die Hard.
Got any ideas?
I've never seen anything you mentioned.
What were you looking at over there? Is that Shrek?
No more Shrek. No more Shrek.
Yeah, I'm done with Shrek. I did like Puss in Boots though.
I didn't even see that one. I was burned out.
Dude,
I do like the character though. Don't get me wrong. I like the character, but I just kind of I saw Shrek way too much. Oh my god, that movie was way too much.
Yeah,
Although was it the third one where they go back to Never? Yeah, it was Neverland or whatever it was, and they had the pepper spray, and they're grinding the pepper in their eyes. Ah!
I think that was was it the second one?
Yeah, the third one's where he had the kids. Yeah, and they had the leprechaun in the third one. So this was the second one with the prince's mom was the whatever.
The fourth one was Rumpelstiltskin. The third one was the prince, the fairy godmother's son.
Yes.
And then the second movie was the fairy godmother. The first two were the best. I especially like the second one. The 3 could have been better, but it was all right. And 4, it was going in a different direction I liked, but I didn't like the character Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, it didn't carry over as well as the other ones did. I don't know if they were just trying too much of the side humor or whatever it was. They just kind of lost the flavor of that one pretty good. What about Ghostbusters rebooted #2?
I'm interested, and I know most of the original fans didn't like the movie. I liked it, especially the fact that they actually kind of they explain where the ghost came from, because before that dude did what he did, ghosts didn't exist. But in the original series, they were saying ghosts didn't exist, but then as soon as they became Ghostbusters, ghosts were everywhere. But in this movie, it explained where the ghost came from, even though the bad guy kind of sucked. And also, I liked how they built the technology. You actually see them going through the process of building the technology. But you didn't see that in the originals. So that was my two things.
You talked about it, but you never really saw the development of anything. It was just, I hope this works. And Egon's character, the monotone, let's give it a shot. We have a nuclear power pack on our back. Have a good day. The humor is what I liked in the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was witty. That's one thing I did. I did like, what's this guy's name?
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd.
Bill Murray made that movie, those movies.
Yes.
I mean, everybody did great jobs with the acting, but he made it.
It's just like watching Caddyshack. Oh, I was Chevy Chase. But Bill Murray was a great character in that movie, too. He was cracking me up.
So I'm interested to see where they will go with the sequel. The only thing about the sequel I will say I don't want to see is I thought the first one was funny, but they did have forced moments, and it was mostly around Chris Hemsworth's character.
Yes.
But if they're gonna bring that character back, kind of tone it down a little bit with him, because some of the humor was forced. It was mostly on his part.
Yeah, he could be. There's what is he in the Vacation, the new Vacation that they came out with, and he's like his or sister's brother-in-law or something like that, and he's all walking around in there and all ripped up and playing like the hot guy, but trying to be funny but not be funny in the movie, which was actually pretty good. That was one of the more funny parts of the whole movie. But tone him down or just get rid of him altogether and focus on the character development and stylizing the new reboot would be interesting. I had my reservations. I really didn't want to see it. I'm an old school Ghostbuster person, and I was very hesitant. Not because it's an all-female cast. Some things you just don't want to mess with. Have you ever seen Gone with the Wind remade? No. They remade Titanic, but no. But see, it's just one of those, I just was very hesitant about being able to put the same quality of a movie together in a more modernized thing. Now, great, the ghosts look good.
Yes.
The technology was cool. I'm still kind of hesitant on the cast. There was still kind of some, I guess it's kind of breaking them in. When you first saw Ghostbusters, the first part of the movie is kind of rough. And then as they get together and congeal together as a team, it gets better. Mm-hmm. And in that movie, I kind of felt like they were trying to congeal through the whole movie. And they weren't quite getting together yet. They didn't have that chemistry developing.
And I had my reservations with Melissa McCarthy. After I watched the Tammy movie, I was done with her. And that was like the first movie I ever seen her in. It was like the first and last. But I actually liked her in this movie. And also the one weird engineer chick that was
Kristen, she's off Saturday Night Live. I know you're talking about. Yes. Yeah, Egon's replacement. Her character was a little. I'm still not really sure. She's an interesting comedian, and that style of the character was just kind of. I don't know. I was very mixed about because some of the stuff was pretty damn funny, and some of it was like, some of it's like just too over the top. It's just oozing off of her character, and like I say, that's why I say I didn't feel that they were quite congealing yet. But if they do a second one, I would be interested in seeing it. I don't think I would see it in a theater. I would probably go get the DVD or rental online and watch it there. I just don't think it's big bucks money worth to me, but I would watch it. Whether digital online movie rental, etc.
Okay, I can understand that. I can understand that. Like I said, a lot of people didn't like it, but it did.
It did good enough to make its money and stuff. I mean, it did surprisingly well considering a lot of people were like me, old school Ghostbusters. Still on the edge of what's going to happen with that. So,
and I grew up watching them.
Yeah, and the animated TV series and everything. I mean, we watched those shows. And so you have it ingrained in your head. Now we're going to throw a whole new group of people, same building. The car was cool at the end. Mm-hmm. But I say it's still up for grabs. If they do a second one, I will watch it. And I would hope that the cast feels more togetherness and it bonds better and it goes on better. Because sometimes the sequel is always, sometimes better than the original. So we'll see how it goes. Can't have Bill Murray back in there because he got 8.
like they managed to bring everybody back in certain parts.
Yeah, well, 2 of them are dead though.
Who died?
We had Dan Aykroyd, we had Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, but Egon.
I know he passed.
And the other guy, the black guy, was in there. I can't think of his name at the moment. I think he passed away too.
I mean, he was in the movie.
Was he in the movie?
Yeah, he was at the end because the black chick kept referring to her uncle, and then at the end of the movie, it was
okay. Dang, I thought he was dead. I thought they had said he had died. I was like, man, I must have not been paying attention very well. I remember her talking to somebody and something, and it was just like it just didn't click because I remember Sigourney Weaver was at the end. Yeah. And Dan Aykroyd was like, "That's a Class 5 Phantasm. I'm out of here, man." And I was like, "Great, just a little." And Bill Murray's cameo was always off the top, but it was funny though. And he just got staked out and killed. So it was pretty damn good. I mean, I love the cameos. I was really happy to see the cameos because that to me brought a connection to the original series.
Do you think if they're gonna greenlight the Ghostbusters 2, that they should go with Zool?
That's the way they were headed, and I like the way they introduced it.
I'm interested in seeing it too.
I could see that. I mean, it would make sense. Oh, and we already had the Marshmallow Man, so they could do something completely different with Zool too. I mean, they don't have to stick with the original storyline. They could always change the mythology of that character because it's just a made-up character. So, it could be something completely different. They might keep it the same just to keep the audience familiar with the movie. Granted, it was almost 20 plus years ago. No, it was longer than that. Hell, Ghostbusters was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, about in the 80s. And I think the second one came out like 1990.
Yeah, the second one came out with the painting guy, and I can't remember that one. That one kind of got a little hokey though.
I wish there was more. I wish there was more to that story, because you had the ooze and you had him, but I wish there was
something that connected it completely.
I wish his presence would have been a little bit more like important.
Yeah, because all you saw was the painting and him talking to the little crazy guy talking to him all the time.
Yeah,
you never really, you never saw you never felt that character come out.
Yeah, he didn't feel like he was touching the world, and that was like you didn't really feel like there was any stakes. I mean, yeah, he was trying to take over this baby, but
yeah, that was it. You were worried about the kid than what he was actually trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Though I do like that guy's performance, the one that was like his servant.
Yeah,
that was the funniest stuff. Oh,
yeah,
but
he
I would
definitely made that.
Like his over the top worked with that character for that role.
Well, yeah, because I mean the whole style of movie was designed that way. I mean, you saw when they were down there looking around and the train came at them.
Yeah,
they're all freaking out, trying to haul ass and stuff. It's there, that they were trying to keep that chemistry going that they had, but step it up even more. So then they had to have some more over the top bad guy. You had to have more over the top characters, But he was hilarious. So he really made a lot of that a lot of the humor in that movie just by his character's presence. And then of course the bad guy shows up.
You know what would probably help make that bad guy more memorable? You know how that guy was kind of his henchman? It would have been probably worked better for that character had his henchman been like sent to do stuff. Like say, he was trying to get this baby, but maybe he needed like certain artifacts and stuff to help bring him back. And they kept running into this guy.
Like, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm here checking whatever, trying to get out of it. Sweet, talking some just baloney stuff.
And then use his powers, because the only time you see him use any abilities was when he was walking down the hallway and his eyes were glowing. But I'm like, that's what kind of made the movie feel so slow paced, because even though he was the bad guy, he just didn't feel important because nothing was going on connected to him really.
No, not to the very end of the movie did you really feel anything at all. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you see little stuff happening here and there, but it just doesn't connect. The dots didn't connect very well.
Yeah. And you got the ooze stuff, and the ooze stuff was like cool, but it's like, so is this the only city that's got that ooze stuff?
Mm-hmm. What is this, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles?
Like, they should have showed up then.
Yeah, no kidding. They should have had some superpower Ninja Turtles. That would have been cool if they showed up and beat his ass. They don't need the Ghostbusters for that. Just let the Turtles do it. That would have been awesome.
And speaking of the Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I have not seen the new one with Kang in it.
That's another one of the series. I was like, I'm done. The first one I liked, it had its problems, but I liked it. The second one, it's a good idea, but the execution was terrible. Crane was awesome though. He was awesome. Like when I did my top 10 bad guys of the year, he was like, I think the top 3. He was in the top 3. Dude was beat. That's the most badass I've seen that character in any incarnation.
See, that's why I really wanted to see the movie, was because they were bringing him in there from Dimension X, I think is what it was. So I wanted to see it because I had watched the TV series. So to me, it would have been a natural to have that character a prize. Now, how they manifested him into the movie, it was up in the air. But I'll probably watch it this weekend and see and have a little bit more say into it. But
it's worth a watch. But like I said, I was more critical. I was like, I hate this movie. Crane was cool. Bebop and Rocksteady were okay. I know they were trying to make the characters kind of goofy because of what their is, but they should have been more serious, especially based off the so-called reputation that they had before. You know what I'm saying? because in the movie they were supposed to be like stone cold killers. They're supposed to be like the worst of the worst,
and yet they come out as bumbling idiots.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that. It did not feel like that in the incarnation of the movie. But I did like their design and some of the stuff they did. But as far as a third movie, I'm not sure. If they decide they want to do like a Toka and Razor thing, I might be more inclined to see where they'll go with that storyline. Will they be smart? How powerful are they? Is it the foot that produced them? You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't mind seeing them make a return. Shredder, no, I'm done with Shredder. And then what happened in the third movie? I mean, the second movie, he don't need to make her appearance.
No, I think they blew the wad with him. Now they've got we had Kang. That's the next big major character in the series that we saw. So I don't know where they would go with it. I mean, I think I like the 80s and early 90s version because they were physical and they were fun and it was kind of, a little bit hokey, campy, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah.
And now we get the ability of doing a little bit of both and making them more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we know they're CGI, but it's really, sometimes you just lose yourself realizing that these are animated characters while it's playing. So, and it gives it a nice extra realism to me, but story-wise, I don't know. I think they're done. I don't think they're going to do enough to make a third one. I think the series or whatever franchise would be discontinued at this point.
And what was one of the bad things was they had Baxter Stockman in the movie, played by Tyler Perry. I'm not going to lie, that was a pretty good cast. He was kind of over the top, but it was a good cast. And I can see a sequel with him. I mean, this movie should have been him as the main bad guy and Krang. I would have loved that. It would have made a hell of a lot more sense. But they decided to do a third movie and they bring back Baxter Stockman because he was responsible for making Bebop and Rocksteady. So it'd been nice to see him kind of experiment more with that ooze stuff and make more bad guys. So I could kind of see if they were going to do that with his character.
Well, they could do. I mean, that could come up with a third movie. I mean, that gives you some ammo to throw. And they had a lot of the. I mean, if you remember the toy series, I mean, they had a lot of different characters that you never even really saw in the show much.
What was it? Triceratops, a rabbit.
They just threw some weird stuff in there just to make characters, to make them look cool and you interact with them. So there would be some space for some more variant animals instead of the rhino and all. You could get an alligator or something in there and make a new generation of bad guys.
Yeah.
It's very possible. And then finally, bag him and he tries it. He, of course, obviously as a bad guy, he has to inject himself and become something, the big monster bad guy, the boss, basically.
Or come up, and even, I'm one of those guys, if you can fit something new into it, go ahead, because I didn't have a problem with the modernized foot because it makes sense. But they decided they want to make a new bad guy with perhaps ties to the foot or Baxter Stockman or ties to some other character. Fine, I could deal with that. But as far as like right now, Shredder, no, he's out. Krang, I want to see him come back, but he's done. After what happened in the second movie, he's not coming back no time soon. Baxter Stockman is still right now is the only viable option. In my opinion,
keep a continuity in the series.
Yeah. We got time for one more. Have you seen Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters?
Yes.
What do you think? Can they go with another? Can they get another one going?
Yes.
I think so too. I think so too.
He has a good cast, and they can add whatever they want to it.
I hope to see new characters, but but one of my problems with the first movie which kind of didn't make sense. The witches were trying to gain immunity to fire, but that's what they use to attack people. I was like, fire ain't what kills you. And in the movie, Hansel and Gretel use all of these different means of killing them. And I'm like, I can understand y'all wanting to gain immortality or something, so that way y'all won't die. But to gain immunity from fire while these people are killing you in all of these other imagine it's pretty creative ways. Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that didn't. Kind of like Death Becomes Her. Get the immunity, and it comes with a price. So even if you get broken in half, you're broken in half forever, and you still live forever. But you're in two pieces.
That would suck. That would suck.
Yeah, and that's why they said be careful what you do.
But I wouldn't mind seeing another Hansel and Gretel. I
liked it. I thought it was very original and very cool, especially with the mechanical aspect that they were using there, the weapons and things, and some of the was it Famke Jensen was the Queen Witch, and then you had Jeremy Renner and
what is that woman's name?
She's been in so many freaking movies, Clash of the Clans, and
she was in Clash of the Titans. She was in
Gemma
something.
Eckerson?
Artington, something like that. Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. And, like, if you could pick any kind of character to throw in there in the sequel, who would you like throw in there? It could be like Maleficent or something like that, or the Evil Queen or something.
Well, I don't think they would be able to do something like that, but I'm sure there's plenty of old wives' tales and things that you could throw in there from many different wars. Remember, they're only at this time they're the only witch hunters. Yeah. And what I would guess in the European world at this time, because they hadn't moved over to the New World yet. So they could actually move to the New World.
Have you ever heard of Baba Yaga or something like that?
No.
She is like from an old wives' tale, but I'm more familiar with her because I was reading up on she was the main bad guy, one of the main bad guys in Hellboy, the Hellboy comics.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga, something like that.
Maybe the dark. Yes, I just didn't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about. Not the button. Oh my God! Drop buttons.
Shoot up, guys. We had a really good conversation. Had a lot of great ideas thrown across the table. In the comment section below, let us know what do you think about the possible sequels, ideas, opinions, and thoughts on what we were just talking about. And also be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, and notification button. Keep the best what's going on in this channel. Remember, we do upload videos weekly, and we're going to try to be more consistent with the Breaker Debates because they're awesome, and I like talking to Ken. He's cool. But be ready, guys. We're going to upload another show in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned and then get ready to enjoy even more in-depth conversation with even more topics.
It's supposed to be saucy.
All right then, guys, we'll catch you in a little bit.